my inspiration, and it's just hard. He hasn't had a shirt on since the end of Game 7 of the finals, man. JR.
Bruh, for real?
Put a shirt on, man. I'm done.
Excellent, bruh, for real, Daimeon. I mean, I can say this about J.R. Smith. I've been to plenty of parties, being the bruhs, Ruta Samu. I've been to plenty of parties where I didn't have a shirt on myself. But never a club, man. They toss you for things like that. But I guess when you win an NBA championship and you got buku dough from all the games that y'all done won, they leave you in the club like that.
Pierre, it's okay. At first, maybe. But you hadn't worn a shirt in almost a week, man.
Bruh, for real?
Shut it down, babe. Shut it down.
We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with the conclusion of the All Things Sport podcast. Gonna end on a lighter note with the All Things Sport Real MVP. Right here on the All Things Sport podcast on Spreaker Radio.
Thank you for listening to the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks. Be sure to check out the In My Humble YouTube channel for all your sporting needs.
Pierre Banks here, thanking you all for listening to the All Things Sport podcast. Please subscribe for much more of the show. Also, join myself and Rudy Mondragon for In My Humble, The Split Decision, where we discuss all things boxing and what is just our humble opinion on the In My Humble YouTube channel.
The All Things Sport Podcast.
We go back like spinal cords and car seats.
With Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
My life I live, I'll be thugging with you. Thug it out, baby. Thug it out, baby. Don't stop till I die for this. I'll be keeping it true.
And we are back on the All Things Sport podcast. I'm Daimeon. He's Pierre. We are both Bankses. Same mom, same pops. You know the deal. Pierre, we've been having a blast on the show today, man. We've been cutting up. So now we're going to end the show with a segment that we hadn't done in a while. But we feel that it's only fitting that we end the show with this one. It's the All Things Sport.
You the real MVP.
And I think I'll start mine off because when we were in pre-production, I told you what I was going to do earlier. You scoffed at me, so I'll get mine out the way. Let you totally disrespect my real MVP. My real MVP for this week's podcast is the City of Cleveland sports fans. You have endured over 50 years of being losers. You have endured horrible teams, the Cleveland Browns, the Cavaliers pre and post LeBron. You have endured the Cleveland Indians. Even though Albert Bell and Jim Thome are pretty good players, the Indians didn't win anything. You have endured being trash in professional sports since Jim Brown and the Cleveland Browns won, which was then the NFL championship in the early 50s. Cleveland Browns fans, Cleveland Indians fans, Cleveland Cavaliers fans, you're my real MVP because you have the guts, you have the gall, you have the intestinal fortitude to stick with your pro franchises even though they are the same substance that resides in my baby daughter's pamper, that being doo-doo. City of Cleveland fans, I commend you. You are my All Things Sport real MVP.
You the real MVP.
Shout out to real Cleveland fans like Jerry Kennebrew and all those guys and girls up there in Believeland. All you people who don't live in Cleveland, who are Cleveland Cavaliers fans because LeBron James plays there, and you were Miami Heat fans 2 years ago, you are the opposite of the real MVP. I don't know what that is, but you're the opposite.
I mean, they're just different types of fans. I am that fan. I don't have a favorite professional NBA team. I've never had. I mean, I'm more of a NFL, college football, college basketball guy. I enjoy it in the NBA, but I've never had a favorite NBA team. I have favorite players.
I thought your favorite team was the Utah Jazz.
I was a huge Jeff Hornacek fan back in the day. The way he came off those curls, prosito. It was like a young Steph Curry, how Jeff Hornacek came off those curls and knocked down that jumper. I was a huge Jeff Hornacek fan, back in the day. But I never had a favorite team, always had favorite players in the NBA. So I take umbrage. I feel like you're taking shots at me, man.
Quietly, but I digress. Let me go ahead and proceed to give the people what they need with my All Things Sport MVP. This week, I'm sticking with the NBA theme, but I'm going with Mr. John Selden. Mr. John Selden is the father of Chris Dunn, who was just selected in the NBA lottery in this year's draft, 5th overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. His father, John Selden, was separated from Chris when he was just a year old. Chris's mom took Chris and his older brother and moved them down to Alexandria, Virginia, all the way from Connecticut, where they lived. And for years, Mr. Selden was unable to see his sons and unable to connect with Chris. And essentially, Chris had never met his father. You know, his mother was in and out of jail on, you know, simple charges and things like that, and would do everything that she could not to let Mr. Selden see his children, which is a real tragedy, but it's a problem in today's world. And, well, eventually, Chris's mother broke down and allowed Chris's older brother, John, to go up to see his father in Connecticut to get some clothes and some things that they needed because they just didn't have it down in Virginia. Now, once he left, you know, Mr. Selden wanted to see his kids so bad that he tracked young John's phone calls, the calls that he made from his house, looked at the phone bill, and kind of was able to get a location of where his sons were, and eventually found out that their mother was in jail for a year. He quickly moved through the court system and was able to get full custody of his sons and bring them back to Connecticut, where he had already remarried and had a couple children with his now wife. And so Chris Dunn is now thrown into a situation with his father to where it's emotional. You know, he never knew his father. They had to get used to each other, get used to the rules and things like that. But now Chris Dunn, after a brilliant career at Providence, staying to earn his degree, which is very commendable, and that's real All Things Sport MVP worthy. But I'm giving it to Pops, to Mr. John Selden, who went through hell and high water to be able to get his sons back with him in Connecticut. And now young Chris Dunn, again selected 5th overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And just an amazing story, man. For that, Mr. Selden,
You the real MVP.
Pierre, that was a great real MVP, man. Why did you have to ruin my funny real MVP with a serious one, man?
I know so many fathers out there, man, who do everything they can to try to support and love and see their children. And, you know, their mothers, for whatever reason, don't want the fathers to have anything to do with their lives, man. And I won't say any names, but, you know, I got real close friends who are in that situation, and it just hurts my heart to see it, man. For every man out there that doesn't take care of their responsibilities and take care of their children, there's some good dudes out there that want to do it, but for whatever reason, the mother of the children just doesn't want the father to have anything to do with their kids' lives. And, you know, they can be telling those children anything, and it could ruin the children's perception of their father.
Yeah, tragic situations that happen like that all the time, man. Great real MVP. But breaking news, man, for all you Lakers fans. The Lakers just took a center. Bum center out of Croatia, Ivica Zubac. 7-1 out of Croatia. Congratulations, Los Angeles Lakers fans.
Yeah, we know that we're not going to keep him. You know, it's a 2nd round pick. We're not going to keep that guy.
Actually, Mitch Kupchak has him penciled in as the starting center next season.
No, he doesn't, man. So you guys got to keep an eye on Daimeon, man. He's one of those guys that, you know, you give him a little glory with what LeBron did and stuff like that. Now he's on cloud 9, and, you know, you can't tell him nothing, man.
In the immortal words of my brother Dave, may he rest in peace, that guy's phony.
You are something else. You know, know, people like you, I like to compare to Carolina fans because you know what they say? I'm a Carolina basketball fan. I don't like Carolina football. I don't like Carolina baseball. I'm a Carolina basketball fan.
No, that's not. That's
the same thing.
That's not even. That's apples and oranges. I don't have a favorite NBA team.
You can't hop from team to team just because that team is good, or you can't do that, man.
No, it's not about being good. It's about the player. Like, it's not about the team being good. If the Cavs were awful, I would still pull for them because I like LeBron James.
Bruh, for real?
It's not about the team. Like, I like that particular player. The 76ers, when AI played, they weren't winning NBA championships. They went to the finals once. AI was there for like 12 years. Like, I liked AI, so I pulled for the Sixers after MJ retired.
Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast has taken a turn for the worst. You're starting to see the true colors of Daimeon Banks. I mean, you're like a Carolina fan, and I know those words sting,
man,
but you are like a Carolina fan.
You're being real disrespectful right now, man. You're phony. You're phony.
Daimeon, as always, man, it's been a blast.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure as always, man. Thank you so much to all you listeners out there for supporting this whole Banks Boy movement. Of course, for listening to the All Things Sport podcast, for going to banksboy.com to check out the In My Humble YouTube channel. Don't forget, we got that new video up. What does LeBron James have to do? Thanks for supporting In My Humble, The Split Decision, Daimeon's blog, my blog. We cannot thank you enough.